Have you ever looked back on a toxic relationship, maybe with your narcissist ex or your psychopath ex, and thought, what was I thinking? Well, don't worry, you're not alone. Been there many, many times. You know, narcissists have a way of twisting our minds and emotions until we're doing things we'd never imagine ourselves doing. Dumb things that we did, right? So today in this video, I'm exposing the 5 dumbest things we all do, or that I did, when I was under the spell of the psychopath narcissist. And trust me, it's not your fault, but it is time to take back control. It's time to take back your power and understand that it's not that you were dumb. It's just the things you did were dumb because you were under the direct spell and control of a narcissist. So the first thing, the first dumb thing I did, looking back at my relationship with my psychopath ex narcissist, was believing their lies. I mean, first up, you know, when you believe the lies of the narcissist, even when the evidence is right in front of us, it's a hard pill to swallow looking back. But you got to keep in mind, narcissists are masters of deception, guys. So they'll tell you that you were, or, you know, they're working late, even when you already know, and you can sense it and you can feel it, that they were out with someone else. And somehow we convince ourselves, right, that maybe we misunderstood them. Maybe we didn't understand exactly what they said. Maybe we weren't paying attention. Maybe we were all caught up in our own heads and in our own thing, in our own paranoia, and we misunderstood what the narcissist said. Why? Because the narcissist is very good at gaslighting us. As a matter of fact, we gaslight ourselves many times. I know I did. Making us second guess what we know to be true. But, you know, here's the reality, guys. The more you trust the words of the narcissists over your instincts, over your gut, the tighter the grip the narcissist has on you becomes. Okay? I've said it many, many times in my previous videos when I got out of that situation, when I did the work and I started healing, that I would never trust the words of somebody else over my gut instinct. That I would rather be wrong, okay, and look foolish than go against my instinct. Because if I were to ignore my instincts and I go ahead and I get into something that I feel is dangerous and I get burned, I don't think I can live with myself. That's one thing that I struggled with a lot when I was recovering from narcissistic abuse, was when the many things I realized that were going on that I knew better, and my gut was screaming at me, and I went against it, you know? And it's like, why did I do that, right? What a dumb thing I did, right? But it's what happens when you're under their spell, guys. It's what happens when they're under their spell. So the second dumb thing I did with my narcissist ex when I was under her spell was over-explaining myself. And a lot of survivors of narcissism, they tend to over-explain themselves too. I hear that a lot in my coaching program when I work with survivors on the channel. And it becomes contagious, or it's something that you adopt for the rest of your life. You start over-explaining to everybody. It's not just the narcissist, but you develop that need to prove yourself when there's really no need for such elaborate explanations. You know, have you ever sent a 5-paragraph text explaining why you didn't answer the narcissist's call immediately upon receiving the text, like within 5 minutes. You know, the narcissist expects you to reply right away. Did you ever send them an essay explaining why? That maybe you were in the shower. Maybe you didn't realize you had turned off your notifications. Maybe you were in the middle of a meeting. Maybe you were talking with your boss. Maybe you were putting out a fire, right? Maybe you were spending some time for yourself. Maybe you were living your life. But yet we go and we over-explain, didn't we? And that's because narcissists make us feel like we have to prove that we are good enough. Constantly. But here's the truth. No amount of over-explaining will satisfy them. No matter what you do, it's never going to be good enough for the narcissist. They're not looking for answers, guys. They're looking for control. Remember that. They just want to have control over you and the situation. So stop wasting your energy trying to justify to someone who just doesn't value your perspective. They don't value the truth. They don't value the way you see things. They just want to have power and control over you. They enjoy watching you over-explain, try so hard for them to like you. And at the end of the day, you know what's going on. You know they're with someone else. You know that the person they once were during the love bombing phase, you know you're never going to see that person again. You feel it. It's been months. For some of you, it's been years. But yet you keep trying and you keep trying. Let me tell you, that's something that, looking back, I can't believe I did. But we've all been there, right? We've all been there. So let's move on. Let's move on before I over-explain that situation. So the third dumb thing that I did when I was under the spell of my psychopath narcissist ex was that I was taking responsibility for her emotions. Can you believe that? You know, we take responsibility for the emotions of the narcissist, of the toxic person. You know, remember, narcissists love to shift blame. They love making you feel like their anger, their sadness, or bad behavior is your fault. Even things that happened to them before they met you, somehow, some way, is your fault. You're somehow connected to the fact that this thing happened to them before, and now they're with you, and now this is happening, and that reminds them of the past. Somehow, it's your fault. And suddenly, you're apologizing for how they hurt you. You know, sound familiar? I can tell you, there was a time I was with the narcissist ex, and we were coming back home on the train, and this is when things were already bad, and she was withholding and just picking a fight every weekend. And it seemed like we were having a decent time. I was grateful that, wow, things are looking good. I hope we're going to have a good rest of the day. And something happened, something popped off, and I had to call her out on it. And we got into an argument, and I'm trying to make my points, and I'm driving my points home, and I have her stomped, you know, and she's not going to get out of that one. And what does she do? She starts the whole word salad, and she goes into this rant about her childhood and her mom, and something that happened to her in high school, and something that happened to her at prom, and yada, yada, yada. And before you know it, I'm apologizing, and it's like, oh, you know, it sounds like you went through a hard time. You didn't deserve that. You know, you start saying all the right things because that's what a loving boyfriend does. You want to be supportive. And it's like she had screwed things up, and yet I'm here apologizing for things that happened to her. And it's like, what does that have anything to do with what just happened? How did I get suckered into listening to a story, a sob story that is, of her past, and how did that become the center, the focal point of the argument, and how come I'm apologizing at the end of that and nothing has been fixed, nothing has been settled. If I had a nickel for how many times that happened in the relationship, oh man. But yeah, you know, this is a classic manipulation tactic to keep you stuck in the cycle of guilt and control. So let me be clear. You are not responsible for the feelings or the actions of anybody, especially your narcissistic abuser. You're not responsible for the feelings. Put that down, okay? Put that need to that codependent need. Put it down. Put it down, okay? And all right, fourth dumb thing, and you can say stupid thing too. That's an interchangeable word, but the fourth stupid thing I did when I was under the spell of my psychopath narcissist ex. Oh man. So I was isolating myself from my family, from my friends, from my own support system, because that's what friends and family can be. It's a support system. When I needed them the most, the narcissist had managed to somehow have convinced me not to spend time with them. Somehow had pushed me away from them. Somehow it pushed them away from me. I don't know how she did it. Because when I met her, I used to have meetings at my house. I used to throw parties at my house. I would see my family all the time. I would be traveling, be doing a lot of stuff. And by the end, there was no one left. I remember there was a time I hadn't seen my parents in almost 3 months. And they wanted to come over, and I would say, hey, they want to come over. And she would put this face, and she would tell me, I'm just going to go do something else. And I was like, what do you mean you're going to go do something else? Like, huh? Like, you brat, you rude brat. But yeah, you know, it's a sneaky one. It's a sneaky one. Okay. They, narcissists hate competition, especially when it comes to your attention. So when you have people over, especially your family and friends, they don't like that. They want to be the center of attention, and believe me, they're gonna do something to be the center of attention, but they just don't like that competition. So they'll plant seeds of doubt about your closest friends and your family, convincing you that they're the only one that you can trust. Somehow, some way, they turn your friends against you, or they make you see your friends in a different light. And you're like, oh, I never saw it that way. You know? And before you know it, you've cut off your support system. Who are you going to call now to talk about the problems that you're having with this crazy person, right? With this demon that's sleeping in your bed? Who do you have left to call now? You know? So it leaves you even more dependent on them. You're more dependent on the narcissist now than you ever were, because isolation is their playground. So, you know, don't let them win. Don't let them have that one. Believe me, when you get out of these situations and you're all alone and you isolate and you got used to making the narcissist be your lifeline, when you're in that situation, when you're in that tough spot, you're going to be so tempted to reach out to them. You're going to be so tempted to let them back into your life. You're going to be so tempted to fall for the old Hoover attempt. You're going to be so tempted to forgive and forget and try to work it out, only to get burned once more. So do not let them have that one, ladies and gentlemen. Believe me, your family, your friends were there first. Okay? Remember that. They were there before you met the psychopath monster. At least in my case, my friends and my family were there first. If I met friends after I met her, which wasn't the case, Not talking about those. I'm talking about the ones that were there before. All right. Those people, that's why I always get upset when I have friends that all of a sudden they get a girlfriend and then they stop talking to you. That's happened to me quite a few times with a couple of particular guy friends that I've had all my life. And the minute they get a girlfriend, that's it. They don't need me anymore. They don't got time to hang out anymore. They don't got time to talk anymore. Oh no, they can only call me when they get out of work right before they go home, because God forbid, right, that they call their buddy in front of the girlfriend. But of course, the reason I say this has happened before is because these dudes have picked the wrong girl, and they've picked some toxic women that have taken control, right? Or they've surrendered control to this girl like a white knight beta, and history has repeated itself. So there's one particular dude that I'm not speaking with anymore because I got tired of it. So we'll see if he ever reaches out after he gets dumped. Anyway, I'm not bitter. So the fifth dumb thing that I did when I was under the spell of my psychopath narcissist ex, and this one I know everyone here can relate, and is that I stayed in that relationship longer than I should. That's the one that I regret the most. How long I stayed, longer than I should have been in that. Narcissists are experts at breadcrumbing. Okay? You guys know that. They'll give you just enough hope to keep you hanging on. They'll dangle that carrot. You think you're about to grab it, and they pull it away, and they dangle it again, and you reach out like a fool, and they pull it back, and then they throw some breadcrumbs at you, and you're there licking those crumbs off the floor like a little dog. Yeah, that's what they do. They'll promise to change. They're going to do better. Maybe their libido's going to come back, right? But they're still on the birth control pills. I wonder why. Finally give you the love that you deserve when they try harder, and they're going to work so hard on coming back and being that person that they should have been, and they're working on themselves and this and the other, and give them one more chance. But let me tell you, if you're waiting for a narcissist to change, that's like waiting for a storm to turn into sunshine, right? You're going to be waiting forever. It's just not going to happen. A storm is a storm, all right? A storm is a storm. A nice day is a nice day. Okay? Two different things. And the longer you stay, guys, the more damage is going to be done to your psyche. Not to mention your heart, but narcissistic abuse is all about the psychological. The longer you stay, guys, the worse it gets. Okay? The longer it's going to be to recover. The more trauma you're going to have. Right? And the more stuff the more dumb things you're going to have on your list. Because let me tell you, I'm just exposing 5 today. But there's a lot of things that I did that I regret. There's a lot of stupid things I did when I was under her spell that I cannot believe I did. Things that I put up with, things I would never put up with anybody, and never have and never will. And yet, when you're under the spell of a narcissist, you will not believe the level of stupidity, right? The level of stupidity in the things that you do for them. It's unreal. So, keep in mind, guys, breaking free from narcissistic abuse or from your narcissist partner, if you're still with them right now, it starts with recognizing these patterns. If any of these sound familiar, especially the last one, you're not alone. That's why we have this community here, and you don't have to stay stuck in that blackness and that abyss, because that's what it feels like. It feels like you're in an abyss. That's not a relationship. That's not a relationship. It's this abyss. It's like you're falling, and you never hit the bottom. You keep falling lower and lower, you never hit that rock bottom. That's why it's so hard to heal from narcissistic abuse, especially if you're still with them. But now that you know the game, you can stop playing by their rules. The choice is yours, you know? Have you guys ever fallen for these traps? Have you ever stayed longer in the toxic relation? Not just with a narcissist, but with any toxic relationship that you might have had in the past. Can you recognize when you should have gotten out? Months, years before? Can you recognize that when you look back at the history of your life and you're like, damn, if I only would have gotten out a year ago when this particular thing happened, I would have been spared of all this trauma. You know? So let me know in the comments below. Share with us. I'd love to hear your story and support you on your journey. Don't forget to like this video as usual and subscribe to the channel for more insights on breaking free from narcissist toxic relationships. And also for my loyal fan base that you're still watching, I appreciate your love and support over the years. If you're watching this video now for the first time, there's a little bell icon that you can click next to the subscribe button. If you click that, you're going to get a notification every time I drop a video. I've been getting a lot of people ask me, hey, Kita, when are you going to drop a new video? And I scratch my head and I'm like, I dropped like 7 last week. And they're like, what? I'm like, yeah. You're not seeing them? She's like, no. YouTube is not showing me. And I'm like, okay. So try this and see if it helps. But that's it, guys. I'm really tired tonight. So thanks for sticking around to the end. I hope you got some value out of this. And if you have any ideas for a video that you feel would really go a long way in helping you make that final push towards freedom, not just some generic stuff, like something specific that you feel you need to hear that's going to give you the courage to actually finally break up with your narcissist, to actually file for divorce, or to just push that block button on your phone because you're afraid to block them, let me know in the comments below so I can focus on that and put together something that will hopefully inspire you guys to make the necessary change in your life so you can break free and live a happy, joyous, and free life. Okay? Till then, my name is Kita, and this is Psychopath Exposure. Catch you guys on the next one. Have a good night.